right, 1 2 1 2. Once again, welcome to another edition of Why Not Wednesdays. We're doing a special edition this week. We got some special guests on here. So we get giving you all a minute. Go ahead and get you a glass of wine. You can wind down for a Why Not Wednesday, and then you know how we do it, all right? Each and every Wednesday right here on the MSC Network, The Real DJ Red. Make sure you tell a friend, text a friend. Don't be stingy with the link. Go ahead and share it, all right? As today, we get ready to talk about autism and our advocates for it, all right? Hang on, let me get this chat room over so I can see. Shout out to DJ Underground. Shout out to Rich Live. That cat Dave holding it down in the DMV. Shout out to you as well, all right? So let me bring our special guest on right now. We have two ladies here, two parents here that are advocates for autism. I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves. Carla, you can go ahead and introduce yourself first.
Hi, my name is Carla Warren. I am a wife of 23 years and a mother of an 18-year-old and a 9-year-old. I have a bachelor's in criminal justice and a master's in social science. And I have always been compassionate and worked with diverse groups of people. But more recently, my personal experience is what has led me to advocacy for people with disabilities, but more specifically, my daughter who has autism.
All right, and thank you for being on our show. And Kyla, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Kyla?
You did.
Okay.
My name is Kathy. I am a nurse practitioner in Orange County in Orlando, Florida. I am the mom of an 11-year-old, Kai, and a 9-year-old, Case, both who have autism. And my advocacy journey for people with unique needs has been something I've been passionate about when I first became a nurse 12 years ago. Then when I became a mother, both my sons are on the spectrum. It only further strengthened me wanting to support and advocate for people with disabilities.
Okay. And so I want to say good evening to Ronnie and Veronica just tuning in as well on the MSC Network, as well as Cincinnati is checking in as well. Carla, I don't know if you want to, well, I should have asked you first, but I did an event for you a couple of weeks ago for you and your husband, and we were watching something. I don't know if you want to speak on what we were watching, or do you want to
Yeah,
get it?
sure.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with that. And I'm sure my girlfriend Kyla will, can expound on it. She's very knowledgeable about not just my situation, but others throughout the state of Florida. So like I said, I have a 9-year-old with autism, and most recently, we were receiving a lot of calls from the school, basically saying that my daughter was being excessively aggressive, hitting other kids, hitting teachers. And what made this kind of abnormal was the fact that she can be aggressive at times, but it wasn't normal for this to be an everyday occurrence. We would say maybe we'd experience something like that maybe 2 to 3 times every 2 to 3 months. But in this situation, we were receiving these calls every day. So what you were made aware of is you were able to see a news story about the events that occurred after we received these phone calls. So ultimately, what happened is during like a week and a half span of time, my daughter came home twice with bruises and scratches. We were told that she did it to herself, that, basically she was the one causing the bruises and the scratches. However, we don't know her to be self-injurious. So this was something that was out of the ordinary as well. So I basically just was so confused. Basically, my daughter isn't able to tell me when something is wrong or if someone has done something to her. So what I did, because this situation really, it just bothered me because I would not know if I simply asked her. So what I did was I put a recording device on her and I sent her to school, and it recorded the entire school day. So once I was able to listen to the recording, what I heard was the teacher and the aide basically antagonizing my daughter, humiliating her, embarrassing her, berating her. I mean, just all of the above. You can hear my daughter whimpering at times. You can hear her screaming, crying. Um, you hear things being knocked over. It's a lot going on in the room. What we do here is the teacher and the aide basically talking about her in her face, as if she doesn't have feelings and things of that nature. And they're talking about beating her. Um, they're talking about how they'll beat her. They're talking about basically that as parents, that the reason she's the way she is because we haven't beat her, and that ultimately we just need to, we're spending too much time catering to her. And they went on to explain that their definition of catering is the therapy that we get for our daughter. They talked about her occupational therapy and her behavior therapy, and they saw that as us catering to her. So basically, we're still in the midst of an administrative investigation. It was determined by the district that they didn't have enough evidence to warrant something criminal. So what we did in the meantime is the district did assist us in moving my daughter to a different school. So she's been at the new school for about a month now. And it's interesting because we really expected that the behaviors would continue, but her environment has changed so drastically that in these 4 weeks, we have seen no signs of aggression at school. We've gotten no reports. So that is something that's positive. So that's kind of where we are with that situation. And Kyla actually has been really helpful to me, really with, just staying on task and supporting me with other, options and individuals that I should contact, and, just kind of how to move. Because, every mom and dad needs some sort of support system to help get you through this autism journey. I basically wouldn't be able to do it by myself.
Right.
So I don't know, Kyla, if you want to say anything about,
And
what you know about my situation, but maybe even what's going on throughout
let me jump
Florida
in.
and their
Let me jump
experience.
in real quick. I was going to ask, how is your daughter doing? But you answered that question already. How is she doing, being that she changed the environment and everything has seems to go back to normal. Also, I want to read a comment real quick. Sharon Cincinnati, she says, "Thank you, Rev, for this episode. My daughter has autism and she's 32. She's telling you, ladies, please hang in there. You're not alone." So
Oh, thank
you got some
you.
support there. You got some support there. Kyla, so you want to elaborate on that?
Yes, I think that, when Carla reached out to me, it really hit home for me because my youngest son is nonverbal. And when you're a mom and, your child either has a language delay or is unable to tell you what's going on at school, and you're getting these reports home, your child best. And
Right.
your mama instinct, your instinct as a parent kicks in, you go with your gut. And I think, Carla, you did exactly that by putting the recording device in. And I've had parents here in Orange County that have done the same thing. And investigations were done, and it was said that nothing criminal. But I kind of look at it as, if you were in the work environment and you were doing that to a coworker, would you still have a job? Would that be acceptable? So doing that to children who are vulnerable and they are dependent on you to take care of them and educate them. I just think it's a shame that the leaders within the educational community don't see that that is an issue and that that is a dangerous environment. Especially, I think Carla had requested a camera in the classroom, and because her daughter was transferred, they canceled the camera request, which now leaves that entire classroom of children with that teacher and that paraprofessional in the classroom vulnerable and at risk. And I think that it's important as parents that we support each other, you know, and find your network and find your support system so we can advocate together, because there is a power in numbers. And I think it's important that we as parents and as a community and as sisters and brothers, that we come together in our community to make sure that everyone is included, everyone has a seat at the table, and everyone is cared for and loved for, and especially at school, expectations set high and that they feel safe in that environment.
So let me ask you both this question here, and you can respond to it individually. Being that your kids have autism and the way how they were treated, I don't know. I'm on the outside looking in. Wouldn't that be considered as some form of bullying almost?
I mean, I definitely see it that way. I mean, I see it as child abuse. Unfortunately, I think because our kids heal, those bruises and scratches, they're gone away, and people can't physically see what they may be experiencing psychologically or emotionally. It's easy for people to say, oh, they're okay. And then, of course, they aren't able to express how they feel, which in my daughter's instance, it came out through her behavior. But because they aren't able to express themselves, it's so unfortunate that people will get away with continuing to mistreat them. If we don't stand up for them, or if people don't acknowledge what's going on, not just in the educational system, but overall, these kids are like kind of overlooked. They're not, people aren't paying attention. And I just don't understand it, because my daughter is so sweet and so kind and so loving, and she has so much to contribute, and she'll be ignored because she processes information differently, or she doesn't respond as quickly as someone else, or even when what they consider bad behavior or her misbehaving, when they see that, they just determine she's bad, but they don't even take the time to consider that something else may be causing her, attributing to her reacting that way.
Right.
They don't take the time to educate themselves or get training or whatever it is that they need to just treat people with compassion and kindness.
Right. I really think that it takes special people to take care of special people. And, if you really aren't trained in that area, then you really wouldn't know how to respond or really wouldn't know what to do on that. So I'm just wondering, with the ones that are working around these kids, whether it's in the school or aftercare or whatever, are they trained? Are they certified or anything like that?
Carla, you want to speak to that one?
Interestingly enough, when Carla called me, that was one of the first questions I had asked her. And then upon looking at it, teacher wasn't certified for students with disabilities. But not only that, Zoe's in what grade now?
Fourth grade.
The teacher wasn't even certified in elementary education. She was only certified in pre.
Hang on, Carla, your picture went sideways.
Oh, see. Sorry. Is that better?
That's it. There you go.
Okay. So interestingly enough, she was only certified in pre-K. So not only was she in the classroom not certified, didn't have the training or support, but something that's interesting in Carla's case is Zoe also has a behavior intervention plan. So if these behaviors arise, there's certain steps and things that should be being followed. And listening to the duration of that plan, I don't think there was one instance where anything on her behavior plan was implemented, which that's interventions to help, you know, de-escalate the situation or help support Zoe in her learning environment. A lot of it was just antagonizing, belittling. I mean, from the moment she stepped off the bus for the duration of the day, I don't think I was surprised that she was able to behave as well as she was throughout the tape, because most adults wouldn't be able to deal with that level of verbal abuse. I mean, it was every minute she was turning around. And then something interesting as well is the vulgarity that was used in the classroom. I see that it was all over the news when general education teachers, I think down in your district, used one program. But I mean, this was multiple days of just a berate of threatening physical aggression, name calling, and it was considered acceptable, which is really sad.
Wow. I'm gonna say this real quick. So a couple of weeks ago, I was at my daughter's school. They had a field day, and I volunteered. Me and quite a few parents volunteered to help out with the field day. There was one student that he wasn't listening to the teacher, but he listened to the other parent, and all the parent did was go over there. Hey, man, listen, you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. Come on, show me your muscles. Your team needs you. And right away, uh, the teacher was like, "Oh, well, he's always like that." And we talked to him, and he had a real good time out there, and we didn't have any issues after that. So I agree with you as far as with the verbal abuse and stuff like that. We talked. He never met us before. I've never seen this kid before. I don't even remember what grade he was in or whatever. But he was a young kid, and we talked to him and had fun with him, and there was no issues after that. There was none. So I
I
mean,
think to the patience and kindness,
hmm
getting, you know, that child's level instead of talking at them,
right,
talking with,
talking to them instead of talking at
yeah,
them.
it makes a huge difference. And, you know, children with expressive delays or who aren't able to speak, behavior is communication.
Right,
So you have to look at, is something wrong? Are they thirsty? Are they hungry? Are they overstimulated? And really want to understand what's going on with them to help support them.
right. So as far as Carla, from here now, being that your daughter is doing good at the new school, what is your next step from here?
Well, basically, it's to continue to advocate. Personally, I'm waiting to see how they decide, or if they even decide to discipline um, this teacher and aide. I don't believe they're going to terminate them, um, but my intent is to continue because I have to think about, even though my daughter is in a better environment, I have to think about the kids that were left behind in an environment that I know is not conducive to learning. I
Right,
mean, in fact, I barely heard any teaching or instruction going on in the classroom. It was the bare minimum. So it's really just to continue advocating for kids who aren't able to advocate for themselves.
okay,
So, I'll continue fighting. I'll continue contacting the school board, the superintendent, my senator, the governor, if I have to. There is nobody that I won't reach out to help, to help these kids. And it's a shame because I think the district just maybe they just don't have the teachers that they need that are qualified for the positions. And it almost feels like they're desperate and accepting whoever's willing to go in there. And that's really unfortunate.
Okay. And Kyla, let me ask you this: how can to our listeners, to anyone that wants to become an advocate, what steps can they take to do that?
Really, there's a lot of education in the internet. That was one of the things for me when I first started advocating for my sons, was looking for special education forums and going on Facebook and, rights law and different things to look up as much as I can. And then one of my big things was I wanted to know every single parent that was in my son's class so we could have power in numbers and together be able to communicate. And then statewide, nationwide, looking and seeing parents that are in different forums and being able to support each other and really advocate for our children, because they're our future and they deserve to have somebody in their corner with high expectations and that sees their potential and is always at the table advocating for them.
Okay. Let me read some of these comments real quick. Sharon, Cincinnati, said, "Don't let them get away with that. She can learn. It's their teaching method." Hang on, it's their teaching method. That was from the Mega Source Entertainment site, and also from Facebook. Evangelist Mark Young is asking, is the kids doing better in a better environment due to an more expensive community? I'll let you guys answer that one.
What was the last part of his question?
He said, "Is the child doing better due to is the child doing better is the child better an environment due to a more expensive community?"
Well, what I know so far, because we're just talking about a matter of her being in this new environment just for the past 4 weeks. So that's still really a short amount of time. But what I can see so far is the educators at this school are experienced. Her new teacher has about 20 years experience. She is qualified, and they're doing everything they can, I believe so far to kind of look at what's been done previously. But honestly, they're trying to give my daughter like a chance, like giving her like a fresh look, a new opportunity, because that's kind of what she needs at this point. She doesn't need somebody to remind her of what transpired previously. She kind of needs just, that opportunity to have a fresh start. And I think this is her fresh start. And now, I have to continue to advocate even more so. I thank God they are experienced. But I'm gonna have to really work hard now because she has so much catching up to do. That the previous experience, honestly, I believe she was regressing as a result of that environment.
Okay. And Carla, I'll ask you the same question. Do you feel that the kids would do better in a more expensive community, or is it based on really the teachers?
I think it's based really on the teachers. I think it happens in what I've seen in all communities, regardless of the socioeconomic status, it's having teachers who are trained, who have, like we said earlier, patience and are kind and are there for the right reasons. I think that's what makes the biggest difference, and them having the support staff that's willing to help support these kids and support the classroom learning. For sure, I think that money in the classroom, of course, it helps with resources, but I don't think you can still have a bad teacher in a more affluent area, and the result can be the same.
Okay. And real quick, before anyone that's watching, if you want to call in, you got any questions, and you haven't put your questions or comments in the comment section, you can do so. The number is scrolling across the bottom of the screen, 786-763-3993. Get you locked in right here on the MSC Network. Again, we're talking to Carla and Kyla, both advocates for kids with autism, and you have informed me a lot of things that I did not know. Um, but I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one here that has been informed as well. So again, if anyone want to call in, you can call in real quick. We're gonna keep the lines open for at least to 8:30, and then we're gonna switch over to the Wine Up Wednesdays. I'm reading the comments here. Sharon from Cincinnati said, typical kids have the same needs. Everyone learns differently. Ronnie says it takes more than being a license to care for our children. It takes love and lots of attention and patience. I agree with you 100% on that, Ronnie. Sharon said, where is a teacher aide if they, or do they, if they have them anymore? Um, I've seen some classes, as far as with my daughter's school, some classes do have a teacher's aide. With Carla and Kyla, do you guys have want to comment on that as far as the teacher's aide?
Yeah, my daughter, she has a paraprofessional. Kyla, you have to let me know if that's the same thing as the teacher's aide, but she had a paraprofessional in the classroom, and she was just as abusive, if not more so, than the teacher. Um, you know,
I feel like really that she ran the classroom, listening to the audio tapes of the
mhm.
vulgar use.
From the
The
teacher's aide?
Oh yeah,
Oh
in
wow.
Carla's daughter's classroom. Oh yeah, the teacher's aide was running the show there, and like I felt like she was the ringleader, and the teacher would jump in, but the para was the one that was just all day long, all day long. My sons both have their, paraprofessionals. It can be different ratios within the classroom. So you can have a classroom of 10 kids, and you may have one teacher's assistant slash paraprofessional for every 3 children. My sons both have one-to-one paraprofessionals. My youngest son, he's an eloper, so he likes to get out the door and he's gone. So he needs a one-to-one for support. My oldest son has a one-to-one for attention and to help keep him on task. He's in 5th grade. Um, and really, my youngest son's paraprofessional is his right-hand man. She makes sure that he has his communication device and that everywhere he goes, she's with him, supporting him. So good quality paraprofessionals that have the right heart in it make all the difference too.
Okay, so I'm gonna read these other two comments real quick. I'm looking at one on Mega Source Entertainment. I'm looking at another one on Facebook. I'm gonna read the one on Facebook first because it seems like the one on Mega Source just answered it, even though they can't see each other. Um, Evangelist Mark Young says usually communities that have usually poor communities have poor education and educators. Um, but I'm going to go over here to Heather. Heather is on the MSC network. Um, hang on a second. Um, I'm trying to bring Mark in. Hang on a second. Call back, Mark. Call back, Mark. Let me see. I can probably still get him on. Heather's comment is hang on a second, Mark. I know you can hear me.
Hello?
Yeah, hang on a second, Mark. Heather's comment says, we are in a nice area and the school has been a train wreck for my autistic son. All right. So I just needed to get those two comments out. So Mark Young, got you on the line.
Yeah, thank you for the call and my heart this burden for these kids. But the reason I asked that question, we're up here in Atlanta on the outskirts, and there's a person at my church, Brother Todd. His daughter is definitely like in a wheelchair, and just she needs attention 100% of the time. And he went from one area where the community was not financially reached to another upscale area, and like everything got better. And I know, as the young lady was stating, that finances in the community resources, but then it also, the school sometimes can't get the more experienced, trained teachers because of their lack of resources or lack of finances. So that's why I was asking that question, and we'll be praying because we seen it hand at this young lady up here where she was just totally being abused. And I mean, she was in a wheelchair in school. So
Okay. All right. And we appreciate you, Mark, for calling in.
DJ Red, can I mention one thing in reference to what Mark just said?
Sure, go ahead.
In my daughter's situation, I actually had a RBT that was going in, and that's a registered behavior technician that was going in with my daughter when she returned face to face, after doing e-learning. When she returned to face last summer, I sent the behavior technician in with her. So basically, I was giving them another body in that classroom. I gave my daughter the support she needed one-on-one in the classroom. The teacher and the aide both told me they didn't need that assistance. They were good, that the behavior tech was really just in the way, and they could handle my daughter just fine, and they didn't have any problems with her. So I stopped the behavior tech from going, and we continue behavior therapy at home, but the behavior person did not go back to the school with her. Then fast forward, we have this whole incident occur. So basically my whole point is I gave them a resource and they turned it away. These are just individuals, honestly, that are untrained, and I don't even know that they had interest in doing better.
Yeah.
Because the resources in my area are available to them. They are available to them. I don't think they wanted the help.
I
Okay.
agree. And we have, I support parents in all different areas within our community. And I've seen, just as in affluent areas, segregation, kids still not receiving. I mean, because general education parents say the students with disabilities are too noisy. So the students with disabilities are then forced out to portables, not included on field trips. And I mean, that's in our area over in Bay Hill, one of the most affluent areas that was going on. So it's really across the board.
Okay, so ladies, I'm asking both of you as we get ready to wrap it up, from all the information that you guys have shared with us, what can the community to do, or what can our listeners do to push things forward as far as making sure that these kids get the assistance that they need as far as in the class and not being mistreated and stuff like that? What can we do as an audience?
I think being aware and understanding and accepting and teaching your children too, that everybody's different, and having them have that level of kindness. And as a parent, just like you said, when you were at the field day, being aware when you're seeing something going on, if you see something, say something, reaching out to our state representatives, our senators, our family members, our pastors in our community, to make sure that everybody together is advocating for all children.
All
I mean,
right.
basically, Kyla really said it all just then. I mean, ultimately, the bottom line is, treat them as you would want to be treated.
Right.
I mean, really, that's the bottom line. Show
Okay.
them the same kindness that you would want to receive in return.
All right.
Absolutely.
And as we're winding down on the time right now, ladies, I apologize for keeping you a little bit over, but it was well worth it. Trust me, it was worth it. Again, thank you, Carla Warren and Kyla Murphy. Thank you both for coming on the MSC Network, sharing your experience and your story as well. And we, more than likely, we will have you guys back soon. Maybe more of you as well.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank
so much for having us.
You're
you. Have a good
welcome.
night.
All right. So again, y'all, we're we getting ready to kick up the Wind Up Wednesdays right now. For anyone, hang on, let me switch this over. For anyone that is on Facebook, YouTube, oh yeah, we did it all today. Facebook, YouTube, Mixcloud, Twitch. Y'all need to come on over to the Mega Source Entertainment Network right now. That's Megasource Entertainment. I'm going to make it real easy for you. Megasourceentertainment.com/DJ Red with 2 Ds. That'll take you right there where you need to go. And you can subscribe. It's free. There's no charge for it. Right? So let me get this going right now. And we want everyone that's on the Megasource, keep it locked right here. Right? Let's go. Once again, everyone over on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, well, mainly YouTube and Facebook. I'm shutting y'all off. Y'all got to come over to the Megasource.